actually this combination of relationship therapy and these families that have a special needs child that feels right, that feels good.
That's awesome.
And then, as far as the traveling piece goes, what I discovered, my travel's a little bit limited again because of my life at home, but I can go visit, for example, my family that live in Virginia. And I love that I need to go for a few weeks, let's say, because Sophia has nothing going on, and I need to have some help, with my family, and I can still work. And I love that.
Hi, I'm Kim Tolson, and I'm the traveling therapist. It's my passion to teach therapists how to navigate online private practices and multiple income streams so they can travel the world. I'm a digital nomad with a virtual insurance-based private therapy practice and a multi-six-figure coaching business. I'm obsessed with entrepreneurship and developing tools that can help therapists live an adventurous lifestyle. In this podcast, I will discuss my journey as a digital nomad. I'll chat with other traveling therapists and help you navigate the complexities of running an online insurance-based practice. I'm so glad to have you with me on this journey. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Traveling Therapist Podcast. I'm super excited today to have Eleni Paris here with us today. I practiced her name. I'm glad to have you here, Eleni. I would love if you would just let everybody know how you went from being a traditional therapist to a traveling therapist.
Thank you, Kim. I'm so honored to be here. I'm so excited about this. So thank
Oh,
you.
thank you. Thank you for being here. Yeah.
Awesome.
So tell us about you.
Yes, I have a little bit of an interesting journey. So I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. I'm completely, all online. I love it. So I talk a lot about this. I'm very open. I have a special needs daughter, and so she requires a lot of caregiving and attention, and it's been a very unique journey. And so my years have included, I've been in the field for over 20 years, but my clinical work always looked a little different, kind of depending on where she was at and what we were doing for her and with her. So I did a lot of clinical work, and I did a lot of, workshops and publications and things like that. But there was a time that I had to kind of pause my clinical work and just find other ways to implement my passion for marriage and family therapy as I tended to her and the things that, she needed. And my other daughter, I have an older daughter. So I had two girls. Yeah. So anyway, I was in Arizona. I was licensed in Arizona for a little bit. And then I realized that her needs were just so great. And I just needed to really, again, pause at that point, just with my clinical work.
Yeah.
And still keep my foot in the door in other ways. And then we moved to Florida some years later. And there was a time a few years ago that my professional wheels started turning again. And I really wanted to just do something more and help again. And just, it's always been such a passion of mine. I was ready to start working with people again. But I still didn't know if the clinical space was going to fit with my personal world.
Yeah.
So I decided to work at my Y. I was a Y coach at the YMCA.
Oh, okay.
In my neighborhood. It was an
Nice.
amazing job. I can't even tell you. I think it was a full bridge to bringing me to here and now. And I loved it. I'd go work out there myself, but I also took Sophia a lot. That's my daughter's name. I took Sophia, and I loved how they worked with her, and just I thought, wow, maybe I could just work here a little bit. And
yeah.
so I went and interviewed, and again, my wheels were turning about clinical world, but I still didn't know if I was ready yet or if it would be the best next step. So I went and interviewed, and when I went for the interview, the director said, we're about to open up this position for a relationship specialist. And I was like,
Oh
what
my
what
gosh.
does that mean? That sounds like me. What is that? And he's like, well, we're about to, it's called a Y coach, and we need someone that will just make people feel welcome and take classes with them and show them the gym equipment and help them with their health goals. And he just described this beautiful position, and I was really excited. It was an automatic yes. And
that's wonderful.
so it was a beautiful, beautiful experience. And during that time, then as I met with people, I had people that would say, gosh, you kind of feel like you're my therapist. So I said,
You're like,
wow.
actually,
Yeah.
I am a therapist.
Yeah. Yes. And so right before COVID hit, I
Mhm.
actually had a very dear friend and my mom kind of sit me down and they're like, "Look, we love that you're so happy with this job, but we are like, what are you doing? When are you going to go back into, your clinical world as a therapist again? Because we know you love it. You worked so hard for it." And this friend of mine, actually, she had experienced my coaching at the Y. And so she was like, "I just think you need to dive into it again." And it kind of pushed me to think about it. And then all the gyms closed down, of course. It was, of course, a horrible, sad thing that was happening left and right. And it pushed me to inquire what it would take to be licensed in Florida. And thankfully it was
Nice.
a smooth process.
Nice. Yeah, because you had been moved to Florida, so might as well start seeing clients in that state instead. Right.
Yes, exactly.
Mhm.
Yep. So that's what I did. And thankfully it was a smooth
Nice.
process. And I was an independent contractor at a private practice for a few months. But again, because of my world with Sophia and just some other factors, I felt like I needed to take the next step even further to be on my own. And I thought I was going to move into another space. I had another beautiful offer to rent a space. And as I was waiting for that to be ready for me, my online practice took off. And then I
Yeah.
started to realize,
Nice.
yeah, and I started to realize that it really fit my personal world. It was just a great, great fit for my life at home.
Yeah. Oh, I love that so much, especially with a special needs daughter. I mean, that can be more
Yes.
flexible, I would think, if you're at home and need to help her, tend to her, whatever is going on.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I mean, she's at school all day, so I had all these hours to work, but it's the morning and the when I'm done. So it's preparing and wrapping
Mhm.
up. I find myself a lot calmer because I still have to wait with her for the bus to come get her, but I'm not rushing to get somewhere. And that's really been helpful. It's kind of hard to explain, but just even that little transition time is really, really important.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, I found the same thing when I finally went all online. It was like, oh, I don't have to do this like commute. I don't have to like get all dressed. And I mean, you could wear a party, business on top, party on the bottom. Like
Exactly.
you don't have to do all that. And then
Oh
it
my
cut out the
gosh. Yeah,
commute time. And it's just, yeah. I mean, I
totally.
love being online. I could never go back to an office. I just don't even know how people do it
I
actually.
I
But
love it. I love it so much.
yeah,
I didn't even know I was gonna love it as much as I love it. Like,
yeah.
I was always open-minded about it, and I saw the good, but I used to always think I would always have an in-person space. So, not
Mm,
until I was forced to do this a lot and then realize, "Wait a minute, I love this. I love this." And
yes.
and then the afternoons as well, I can wrap up and just
Mhm.
prepare and just be ready for what I call it the night shift when she comes off the bus.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I'm full in and I just love it. So all those hours that I'm working, I just feel
Mhm.
really blessed to be here again because I wasn't sure if I would. So,
Yes, no, and I just love the message of this field that we're in, really. I mean, you could do a lot of different things with it and always come back to the clinical work if you want to. Like,
yes.
I've got other income streams now. Like I see very few clients, but I also know if at any time I didn't want to do that anymore, I could just totally go back and just see clients, like that's
I
always something
know,
you can go back to. You can reduce your caseload, you can build it back up, you can take other jobs, you can come back to private practice.
right?
It's just so flexible, especially
It
with the
is.
telehealth. Yeah.
And I think the other experiences we have positively influence our clinical work. So,
Mhm. Yes.
I know for a fact that my years that I took a break from the clinical space to tend to Sophia and do other things, like I said, always involved in the field, but I know
Mhm.
for a fact that coming back into it now, what I have brought with me is just gold. My life experiences outside have brought, just so many golden nuggets and beautiful, rich life experiences for my clients.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and I think you kind of alluded to it before we hit record, but has this changed your niche a little bit? Or are you still like the couples and all that stuff, or has that changed because of your experiences? I know my experiences have definitely changed, my niche and who I want to work with over the years. And also being a traveling therapist, I don't want these heavy PTSD, EMDR caseloads anymore, like I used to love when I was in the office and all of that stuff, so. Just
That's a great
wondering.
question. Yes, for
Yeah.
sure. I used to back in the day also work with a lot of kids. I even did play therapy back in the day, so that for sure shifted. I'm only adults now because
Yes.
God bless my Sophia, but I'm kind of always in that young play world, if you will. So I only work with adults. I do love working with all kinds of relationships though. So for couples, I love, adult parent child or, parents and their, let's say, daughter and son-in-law, like relationships, family relationships. I do tend to get a lot of families now that have special needs children, a lot of couples.
Mm. Oh,
And
interesting.
so the
Right.
work tends to combine marital and parenting and, that. So I do see that's becoming a strong niche for me for sure.
That makes sense. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's great in a lot of ways, but also very stressful in some ways on the relationship. So that's
Yes.
awesome that you're an expert in that now and can help other people.
And I tell them, because I'm very open about, Sophia. So of course, with boundaries and stuff, but I
Hmm.
just I get it. They talk and they share the mental and emotional and physical for a lot of them exhaustion and I still get it. And I'm still in it. So even though my daughter's 19 and I might have some other life experience under me from when she was younger,
Hmm.
this is a very long, lifelong journey, and I'm still in it, So
Yeah.
I get it. I get it too, and so I think they find a lot of relief and support just knowing that.
Yeah. And I hope people listening hear that because even with my like coaching clients with therapists, they feel like they can't change their niche. They have to do the same type of clients forever that, they can't travel, they've got these like inside the box thoughts, and it's just I
Mhm.
hope people are hearing that that as you change, so does your niche and so does who you want to
Totally.
work with. And, it just happens over your career. It's normal, I think,
I
for
think
that
so
to happen.
too. I think you
Mhm.
start to see what starts to fit nicely, and then you serve your clients better, and
Mhm.
it just becomes a more natural fit. So, yeah, if you can kind of accept that that happens.
Yeah. Running your own practice is hard. That's where Owl Practice swoops in. Owl is a comprehensive, HIPAA compliant solution created specifically with mental health providers in mind to help you. Meet with your clients virtually through video therapy, manage client appointments and client records seamlessly, streamline your claims process with Owl's integrated insurance and claim capabilities, and communicate with clients securely through Owl's client portal. Let Owl handle the heavy lifting so you can provide quality care to your clients. Visit owlpractice.com/Kim Tolson to claim a special offer of 50% off your first 6 months.
I used to sometimes say that I wasn't I'm so special needs out that maybe I wouldn't work with many special needs,
Yeah. It's like,
right?
I don't want to talk about it at all.
But all of a
Yeah.
sudden I realized actually this combination of relationship therapy
Hmm.
and these families that have a special needs child, that feels right. That feels good.
That's awesome.
And then, as far as the traveling piece goes, what I discovered,
Yeah.
and, my travel's a little bit limited again because of my life at home, but I can go visit, for example, my family that live in Virginia. And I love that I need to go for a few weeks, let's say, because Sophia has nothing going on, and I need to have some help, with my family and I can still work. And I love that because I
Yeah.
love working and I don't want to disrupt the momentum too much if I can. I know it's important to take breaks, but if I can still work a couple weeks or something too, and I love that I could do that.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And we are talking about that too before we hit record. It's just that definition of what's a traveling therapist, just even this part where it's like, okay, well, I could totally just go for 3 weeks wherever I want. Or
Yes,
4 weeks or whatever, you could take your daughter with you and also get
totally.
support from your family. You don't always have that. Not all of us want to be around our family all the time, but it's nice to have the option
It is, it
to go
is.
for a while. Yeah,
I think that
that's
that word,
fantastic.
that word freedom comes up for a lot of us.
Hmm.
And I think being that I don't have so much freedom in many areas of my life, that it was important that I found a way to have more freedom in my professional world, so I could
Yeah.
have that. It just fits a lot better.
Mhm.
It just feels healthier.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I'm just wondering, like, logistic wise, you said you moved to Florida. Were you in Virginia before and you moved down to Florida, or were you in a different state?
Yes, I was in Arizona, so I'm
Oh,
from
that's right. You
from
said that.
Virginia, yeah, then we moved to Arizona for 10 years. Like I said, I practiced there and then had to put it on pause, and then we
Yeah,
moved to Florida. Yeah.
gotcha. So did you maintain your license in Arizona? Do you still see people in Arizona, or did you just end that? Okay.
I don't, yeah, because I let it lapse before we moved. I really thought, and this is where I just have to pinch myself that I'm here again. I didn't know if I was going to get back into the clinical space. I
Mhm.
had moments,
Yeah.
and this is another thing for us to remember, that you never know, right? I
Yeah, for
I
sure.
used to think, "Will I ever have the mental and emotional energy to do that again after everything I'm doing now?" I couldn't feel it or see it at those times.
Mhm.
And then I'm so glad I never completely dismissed it, and I knew my passion was strong, and I think because I held so much inside, I had to wait for that right time, that I didn't
Yeah.
really experience burnout per se,
Mhm.
because again, I had to take that break, and so now I came in with this, like, tons of energy and tons of
Yes.
excitement and
You're like,
passion.
"I'm excited for it, and I'm not
I'm
burned out."
excited. Yes, I'm excited, totally.
I love that.
So each stage, can, I guess, define the next. It'll influence the next.
Mhm. Absolutely. Yeah, and I was just thinking, like, if we were to summarize this talk, that's the thing right there. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just like everything happens, at the time, it's like, "Why is this happening like this?" But when you look back on it, absolutely, it's guided and shaped where you are right now. Yeah.
completely. And I've come into it in such a different, I mean, I just know that my growth and all of the challenges I've, been enduring as a special needs mom has influenced my work tremendously. I couldn't learn it in school. It was one of those
Yes.
life things that just has definitely been a gift, I think, to my work.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you think you'll, travel more the older she gets? Or I don't know what
Yeah,
her,
of course.
disability is or anything like
Sure.
that. So, I don't know if she can travel and all of that long distances or if she's gonna be moving on to her own independent living or something
I
like that,
know. No,
but yeah.
those are good questions and good thoughts. So she's cognitively disabled and speech impaired. So
Okay.
she's considered undiagnosed actually, but
Mhm.
she's very similar to, there's some syndromes that she's similar to, and a
Gotcha.
lot of them might fall under the autistic umbrella, if you will, but they would never place her there. A lot of specialists
Mm.
wouldn't, just because of certain aspects of her social. She's extremely social. There are just certain aspects that just didn't quite fit. But
Yeah.
because she doesn't talk and because she has some behavioral
Oh.
challenges, I think a lot of them kind of share, a lot of the behaviors. So I used to fly with her a lot, and then she had a lot of anxiety when she hit her early teens,
Aw.
and then
Mm.
it became harder, and you know what? It really became harder for me.
Yeah,
And
I
I
get
thought
that.
I got to a point
Stressful.
where it was stressful, so stressful. So I took a break even from that, but
Mhm.
she does love car rides, and
Nice.
so this past fall, I was like, "You know what, Sophia? God bless her. She doesn't have a concept of time. Let's get in the car and drive to to Virginia." And,
Uh,
I had a friend that happened to be driving up there, and I was like, "Let's do it. I gotta go. I haven't seen family. I miss my family. I've got to travel again. I can do it because of my work." I was thinking that. I can do this. I can work from there.
yes.
And she loved it. She loved it.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, it's a long drive, but I was so
Mhm.
excited that I had so much, positive adrenaline. It was great. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Um,
great though.
yeah,
Yeah. So
and
you've
maybe one day
adapted
she'll
that as
fly
well.
again.
Maybe now
And
that she's
maybe,
older or yeah, I
yeah,
mean, who does? Right. Yeah.
stages. You have to be open to all of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Because
Yes. So,
that's not a topic we talk a lot about. If you do have children that have special needs and they might be with you forever, how do you adapt? How do you still, if you've got like the travel bug, like how do you
yeah,
adjust to that and make sure that you're able to do that in your life too? Yeah.
you have to be very
Yeah.
creative and constantly think outside the box, to just to remain healthy about it all.
Mhm. Yeah. Do you have
So
suggestions around that? I mean, maybe somebody's listening and they're like, I've got the same type of thing going on in my life. What do I do if I,
yeah.
have passions or dreams outside of, the caregiver role? What do I do? How do I manage that?
Yes. I think sometimes we feel like we can't because we feel like it's going to impede on our parenting. And I think what I found is with careful consideration, it can actually help because we are 24/7 in our mind. So, like right now, she's at school, right? But it's just always there.
Mm.
So it helps to balance, it helps to give balance. And then it helps to feed other parts of me so that I am even a better parent, I think. So,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
with careful consideration, because there are things you might think you want to jump into, and then you realize, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? That does not fit, you know? Yeah. I mean, one thing I
Yeah.
did create, and I'm happy to share it with you if you'd like, and if you think it's appropriate for your audience, is
Yeah.
it's really just like a self-care diagram. It's just like a that I created that shows the different pieces to our self-care world. And I include career aspirations as part of the quadrant, one of the quadrants.
Wow. Okay. I'm sure listeners would love that. We can put it in the show, link to it in the show notes, and it might really help somebody. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
And I
and
love
that's
what you said about getting creative. She might not like to fly, but yeah, maybe we can drive somewhere or slowly drive across the country one day. Like, who knows?
who
Yeah. Yeah.
knows? There's always surprises. Yeah, just like you said, I didn't think I'd be right here right now talking to you about my online therapy practice. I just didn't.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, isn't that wild? Yeah. Well,
It's
I think
really
it's inspirational. I mean, I think your journey's been is inspirational to a lot of people to realize that, it can ebb and flow and you can do different things with it depending on what's going on in your life and,
thank you.
always get back into the clinical work if you want to. You always
Yes,
can. And you could always take a break from it.
you
Yeah.
can. You can, and you can
Mhm.
know that that break will fuel. There'll be good things that come from that break. I mean, there's just
Yeah.
really good things that come from that break. I think that my break has been a blessing. I didn't know. I didn't know. I thought the break was actually gonna be possibly permanent, and I
Mhm.
didn't
Yeah.
know what I was gonna bring into it, and like I said, I think there's been a lot of positive things that have come from it.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, I really do.
Yeah.
Well, if you take a big trip somewhere and you work out some really creative ways to bring her along and incorporate her, let us know if you ever want to come back and share, because I'm sure there are other
Oh,
parents in the same
you.
situation that would benefit from that.
That would be
Um,
great if I could expand. That was a big step for me to take her. I hadn't traveled with her in about 4 or 5 years.
wow. Yeah.
My husband
Hmm.
and I try to be really good. My mom, I have an amazing, amazing mom who comes to help me, like, comes to stay with
Oh,
us just to
nice.
help. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
that's
my
great.
husband and I try and get away for, like, some two-nighters and things like that, which are very important too. But with her, I had not traveled in about 5 years or so.
Yeah.
Then it dawned on me, I was like, "If I don't come up with something, there's no way, like, I've gotta come
Hmm.
up with some solution to this."
Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
no, I love that. I'm sitting here thinking, I wonder if there's like resort, how resorts have like the area where you could send the kids to do stuff. I just wonder if there's any resorts out there that specialize in like, differences or special needs, I just now I'm curious about I'm probably gonna go Google it to see. Do you
You
know
know
this?
what? And I bet you'll
Uh,
I'm always amazed. I think there probably will be because I'm always amazed at these people that are starting programs for the support of special needs parents. I think people are becoming more aware. There's a lot more
yeah.
out there now. And so, yeah, I think it's very possible. It's very possible.
Very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for taking the time today. So, if anybody's listening and they want a clinician in Florida that specializes in what you specialize in, how would they find you?
Yes, yes. So my website is I'll say it and then I'll spell it. It's
Okay.
www.eleniparis.lmft.com. So that's ELENIPARISLMFT.com. And
Thank you.
best way to reach me for sure.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking the time today.
I thank you. It's such an honor to be with you. I really love your work and I really appreciate it. It's been so nice. Thank you.
Oh, thanks so much. Thank you so much for listening to the Traveling Therapist podcast. For show notes, links, and downloads, head over to thetravelingtherapist.com, where you'll be able to learn more about my journey, the courses I've created for you, and other exciting resources to make your dreams become a reality. If you've enjoyed this episode, please share with your traveling therapist friends, subscribe to the podcast, and if you love this episode, please leave a review.